and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We have before us the agenda. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? That's good. Here's the agenda. That's right.
I will move to approve.
I'll second. The motion is second to approve the agenda. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vote nay. We have minutes from July 6th. Any additions or corrections to the minutes of July 6th?
Motion to approve minutes.
I'll second. Second by Rick. Those in favor of approving the minutes of July 6th, say aye.
Aye.
Those nay. Motion carried. Do you have any comments in the general public? They're not on the agenda. We'd like to say anything at this time. Okay, we'll move ahead. I think it's close enough we can open a public hearing here. We got a public hearing this morning on the ordinances that are on file. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion is second. Open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, do we have any discussion on these ordinances? Maybe you can bring us up.
That when we codified ordinances about a month ago, there were some that had some minor changes. It might have been a word was misspelled, or the fee was raised in a couple of them. We included those on the codification, and then afterwards, when it came time to record it, I told shoot, we should have approved the change first, then did the codification, and because there was some signatures on the original to get to record and report. So we're going back and picking up those changes. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ordinances that were changed. And did I give you back a copy of them?
We saw them, we had copies of them, yeah.
Yeah, changes for the public are, one of them was clearance of snow by a secondary road. There was an amendment made to that during the years before we codified. We just combined the two together. Ordinance number 10, we revamped the ordinance heading just the same, trying to get a more standard heading for our ordinances, because it seems like when another department makes up an ordinance, they don't put the same heading on it, and then you go back and find it and you can't find it.
Paul went through his too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's gone through all that, yeah. Ordinance 11, the permit fee was changed to $100, that's on water well construction permit. Ordinance 13, which is on treatment and disposal of on-site waste, the permit fee was changed to $125. Ordinance number 16, emergency information network signs, we just revamped ordinance heading. Ordinance 18, conservation, same thing, we revamped the ordinance heading. Ordinance 26, zoning, the zoning manual had an addition to it somewhere along the years. We just combined it, put the two into one ordinance. And ordinance 34 for Veterans Affairs, there was some changes in names. Instead of saying administrative assistant, they changed it to either executive director or administrator, and that was all the way through the document. So that was the main change on that. Ordinance 54, assessment of wind energy conversion, we changed the code section referred to in there from section 441.219 to 441.298. Ordinance number 58 was redistricting and precincting plan. We had an original redistricting plan, and then we had an amended one, and we just combined the two together to make it one ordinance. So that should clean up everything now, everything should be in order. I have copies here, everybody needs to see them.
We'll be looking for the last.
Yeah.
Do we have any comments? Anybody from the public like to comment on the ordinances, revisions, and changes in the dates? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move to close the public hearing. Second.
Those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, we need to have a approval of the first reading, which really this morning.
So moved.
Motion to approve the public reading.
So moved.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now we have an option, the next item here, to waive possible second and third option reading if you so choose. Which would be to repeat what we've done this morning. Do we need to do that again, or so we waive the second?
I don't feel any of this too controversial. It's just minor, just minor changes. So, I'll, move that we waive the second and third readings.
Second by Moore. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Having said all those things, we need a motion now to approve the amended ordinance as presented this morning.
Okay, he's waiting for this. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. That's good. Okay, what time is it? 8:35. We go down here at the bottom, approve application for certification payment number 1, Humboldt Living Construction. Do we have a problem with that?
Yes, they turned in one to Rick when they were doing inspections, and it's for $71,725.
And we've had Bob Michelson, he looked it all over, INS Group, and, he approved it for payment. It looked good, things are moving along, so, I make the motion, we should, make the payment number 1 to River Construction for that amount.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, payment number 1 to Humboldt Living. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, accept and place on file treasurer semi-annual report, 3rd of June 30th. I think we have a copy of it. These are pretty routine reports.
I think we ended up with a very decent cash balance in our fund, fitted out the year. And I'll try to put together a report for you. I usually do that at the end of the year to show you what we were projecting we were going to be at, and where we actually ended up, so you'll know if we gained or lost, or some funds might have gone down, but I think now basically we're in much better shape now than we started last year.
Well, we didn't have any supplies bills this year.
Yeah.
Always helps.
Entertain a motion to accept and place on file the treasurer semi-annual report. Motion by Moore.
I'll second.
Second by Terry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We have a similar thing for the recorder's semi-annual report.
And the reporter actually had 3 reports, we had the semi-annual, and we'll get to the quarter later. So the semi-annual actually sets at the top somewhere. And my copy has all the receipts attached. I didn't attach those with yours because it's crossed out on your total, so anyway.
$7,000
Yeah, if you want to see details, I can show you.
$7,004.5.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve that. Quarter semi-annual.
Motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the recorder's semi-annual report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now we got the quarter report for June 30th.
And there's 2 different reports. She's got one that was $19,465.90 as the total received, and then one that shows $49,563.38. And I think the difference is that there's different things on this one and that one, but we can ask for a different down. I'm not real sure why.
Any comments or discussion, motion to accept and approve on file the recorder's quarterly report.
Because I'm just looking at the code numbers from here.
Yep.
4,401. On here, there may not be any money listed, but whoever it is. Sometimes it's like documentary stamps are on one and other fees are on the other. But you said to me it goes in the first, so they're both in the quarterly report.
I don't see any problem. How
But
much?
she did have one correction, she was some money left over, that she couldn't reconcile, because it was more than what she was supposed to have.
Short, yeah. All right, I'll make a motion to place on file the quarterly report. Quarter ended June 30.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rick, those in favor of receiving and placing on file the quarterly report as of June 30, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now we're down to the auditor's report.
That's what I know a little more about. We have copy fees of $3.25, passports of $100, 10% pull down on passports, summertime, and $96 for flat books, for a total of $199.25.
Motion by Moore,
I'll second.
second by Rick. Accept and place on file the quarterly report of the auditor as of June 30. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right. Next item, we have to approve a fireworks permit.
That would be for the Rice family, some burial and ground displays, everyone has been employed this weekend.
Did we get to come?
They want extra.
That was good. Also move the fireworks permit.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the fireworks permit for the Rice family to be used this weekend. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right. We can move back up. Dennis Miller. You want to come up? Discussion on street repairs due to tile construction. We got 2 chairs for you. How about that?
Little background, the county come in and tore up 415 feet of county tile, drainage tile, and I was wondering how we can go about getting that repaired. The street itself, I was under the impression it was already taken care of. I talked to John Wagner 2 weeks ago. He said he didn't know nothing about it, blacktop service. I talked to him again this morning, and nobody's ever contacted him on repairing the street. I'm just wondering how we go about getting that repaired.
What's that street?
It's, southeast Second. Between, southeast A and southeast B Avenue.
Was that because of excavating and tearing up the...
Yes, Doug Marshall come in and replaced that drain tile that hadn't worked for 20 years. We finally got him over there, somebody to come over and fix it, and they replaced all that.
So that was county tile?
That was county tile.
It hadn't worked for 20 years?
No.
How big a tile was it, Chris, do you remember, or anybody remember? Okay.
6, 8,
Couple sizes?
says
It was
4.
8, it was 8 anyway.
Says 4 in that, but I think it's 8.
You find that out quite often.
Yeah.
And it was, complete full of,
Trish, refresh my memory, in Renwick, you know, they had that, just here, a year ago, we had that, out in the field, there was a farm field coming into town, and then we had some work that Pete did, and they had crossed the street, I see it's been patched and repaired. How does that handle, how does the city run it?
I don't know if they build it back to us or not. I haven't heard anything yet. But we're gonna pay for the blacktop service in Delmar.
Okay.
Who makes contact with blacktop service? They say blacktop service, and they have no...
They had called Paul. Paul called me, and I talked to Rick. And then I talked to Paul, and I said, yeah, the drainage district handles it, but it's 92, it's not 2 lateral I.
92?
Yeah. Because it's the one that runs kind of up the middle of the city.
So it'll be paid for.
It's 400 or 500 feet, that's about.
right,
Yeah.
John, I talked to John this morning, and, nobody ever contacted him.
And see, I wish they would've called.
Yeah, he'll be here later.
Well, we can talk to him, but I suppose we're sort of having to handle it.
Well, and if they called him and said, are you gonna pay for this laptop service, and he said no, well, he's not paying for it.
No, he's not,
That's
yeah, that's
where-
probably why he said no.
The confusion is,
Yeah. Secondary roads is...
He didn't direct the line to us,
We'll get on. It'll be paid for.
all of them worked with them.
Year ago.
Or year ago.
It's better to do something
It should
that,
be settled now, so it should be easy to have.
well, they filled it in with, they hauled the old dirt out and hauled in the rock through there.
Stacked over the
Back there was rock.
Okay, that's
So
So
it's
it
running down the street or crossing the street?
went right down the edge of it.
Okay.
All right, Trish, we'll have to work on it. Maybe it's easy for you to just get on, I don't know.
so I just called John.
Yeah.
Well, then I think we need to make a work order up or something too, so, perhaps.
Shouldn't have that been included in the, when Marshall was hired to
I don't
take it
know.
up? I mean, that's what we thought, we just decided that.
I just figured it was under the same
Okay. We don't need to-
thing. I don't have this very often.
No,
I didn't have it.
I just remember running, since I took care of that one. I don't-
Yeah, and that never came
What
back.
project, there was some file or something signed on that one.
Okay, good.
Things should bring it to our attention, things like that kind of sneak by.
Right,
We wouldn't know about it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, will you get ahold of John, Trish? You call John?
Yeah,
Okay.
call him now.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can let them know, just find out what the time schedule is.
I talked to John this morning, he said he'd be late fall.
You already know the answer.
But I'll let him know.
Why did
So
I
we need to call John.
Yeah, Paul should have probably let us know, so we could have gotten on it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you much.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
You bet, thanks for getting back.
Okay, according to schedule here, we gotta wait till about 9 o'clock, we're done here, Roy Miller, here. With the new committee reports.
Get started on them, huh? All right. Last week I didn't have any meetings, but we were in North Carolina for the NACO meeting. I'll touch on a couple little areas. One of them was a breakfast meeting that Rick and I attended. And it was a session on improving outcomes for people with mental illness and substance use disorders in the justice system. So, what made this one interesting to me was we had these brochures that were passed out, and it showed the correlation of how many health issues are related to dental and oral hygiene care, and there's a real lack of that for the ones that can't afford to take care of it, so they don't get it done. And this mental health doctor, Barbara Ziv, she spoke to us. It was interesting hearing, the mental health side of it and all the issues that they're dealing with. I think what Rick and I found out in general is the problems we have here are similar across the country. And we talked to some other providers and DHS people, and they said, this problem has been growing for 20 years. The demand is outweighing the service capability of servicing the problems. One innovative thing that they did out there in Utah, I believe it was, there was a 5-county area, and they provided a building for them, and I assume it's kind of the center of these 5 counties, and they've got 9 young dentists signed on to work, a certain amount of time per month to provide services to Medicaid or to provide free dental services. So the younger generation are giving back, we sometimes wonder, but I think, these younger dentists see the need, and, the thing is, if you can get them in and get them some treatment, maybe they'll get comfortable going to the dentist, maybe they'll find a way to, get to the dentist on some of this, but it was amazing that when they first started it, they said most of their, services were teeth extractions. People's teeth are so bad and so infected, until they get caught up on the ones that are so far gone, it's just kind of a big issue, I guess, so. And, what else did we do there? Oh, we had
I went to summer meeting of that, I think, today mentioned that meeting or another, or part of our problem is there's so many specialists anymore. But the dentists don't worry about anything except dental work, mental health, people don't worry about anything else. In fact, they don't cooperate, they don't salt people. We're getting a little bit of here and a little bit of there.
And this is kind of what the psychiatrist talked about. She mentioned, you know, that, a lot of these problems are due to diagnostic issues. It's the drinking, it's the drugs, it's a lot of mental, we see it this weekend, the mental disorder problem going on in the country. We see it right now, getting services is hard. A little bit what I found out was CSS, you know, we put money into facilities to help, offer beds, have them available to us, and we help, you know, let them set these fees and rates they want to charge, but even at that, sometimes when you call them, they're not getting us in, so you feel a little frustrated. If you've got a client that's really got a lot of issues, nobody wants to touch them, because they don't want to have to charge somebody $1,000 a day to take care of somebody, and no county wants to pay it either, so these issues have got, I don't know, they're gonna have to be looked at a different way, so. And I'll leave it at that, and I'll let Rick talk about the highways and the CPS stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was quite interesting. I guess you don't kind of envision that coming soon, but it'll be here sooner than you think. And they told mainly about counties that sometimes you look at the future, you gotta have bigger roads. And he says, before you really jump into projects, he says, you gotta look at the future, he says, with trucks that drive themselves, which they already have out in several states, they're running down the highways, they had a car that they'd driven from coast to coast with 89% of the time they didn't have anybody driving it. So that's pretty amazing. He said they probably could have got a higher percentage, but the mapping system isn't good enough yet for, when the mapping system would go down, they'd have to have somebody drive it. But, and, you know, like, our county, you know, it's rural, it don't have the things that the big cities do, but, it was really interesting about how the new cars are coming out with the technology for, you're just gonna tap your phone into the car. It's hard to envision, but who would have guessed that 20 years ago, like the Jetsons. But anyway, so there's a lot of good information down there, and what I found the most is the mental health issue was almost the main topic down there. It seemed like every seminar had almost a tie-in with mental health. I'm gonna go back to Wednesday, the 8th. We have a bi-weekly meeting down to the Law Enforcement Center for construction with Woodruff and Bob Michelson from INS Group and everyone that's involved. And so we keep a weekly or bi-weekly progress reports. Right now, the foundation's pretty well in. They're gonna start backfilling. They're gonna fill it all in with sand, pack it all in, and then they'll do the plumbing that's in the floor, any kind of electrical conduit that has to go in the floor, and then they're soon hope to get the floor poured. It'll be a concrete floor. We did have some concerns brought up from Therese about the 911 equipment getting too warm because the air conditioners have been pulled out of the building, because it's pretty well gutted out now. And so I went in there on Saturday and plasticked up the room and put a window air conditioner in it to cool it down. And also, our dispatch room is a little warm. We're going to get a 4-link air conditioner in there for them, because it's 85 degrees in there. It's pretty uncomfortable working conditions, and it's also hard on the equipment. So we're going to get them, hopefully Tuesday, we're going to get that done. So, but they're being pretty patient in their employees there, because it's tough working conditions. But they know it'll get better, so. The asbestos removal, starting, I think, today. That'll take a couple of days to get that cleaned up. And once that's out of there, and then Woodruff will start working on the inside, putting things back together. And also, they'll probably open up a big hole inside the building where they're gonna tie in the lobby and stuff. So, they're anxious to get going. This asbestos has kind of held them up a little bit, a couple of weeks. Because the day like today when it's raining, they can be working inside in there. So we'll be glad to have that done. As we heard earlier, we made our first pay estimate to them. things look real good down there. I'm pretty happy with the way things are going, and, I was gonna say Bobby's doing this great job for my ass, keeping control on the cost of things. He's, real good to work with. That's about it.
The six we had out of city.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
We had, okay, the budget, we ended up with what, in the black, about $68,900 in the black. So we turned out okay with the LEC budget. I had a juvenile, supposed to have had a juvenile detention meeting Friday, but they called and canceled it. With as big a budget as they got, I can't see how they can say it's a light agenda. They do. But that was all I had.
Yeah. I too were down in Charlotte and attended some breakout sessions. One of the meetings I went to was rural and ag affairs. We spent a lot of time on GMOs and genetic modification. And a lot of the arguments coming from Hawaii particularly, they think that's poison. Boy, they just,
Yeah.
it's like, man.
I was sitting in there listening to that, and the lady was saying how Roundup sterilizes the ground. She didn't have a clue what she was talking about.
She was fine.
And she was one of the speakers up at the podium.
It was went round and round. And then we got on food, origin of labor, food products, and the big debate was whether the county should control it, state control it, or the local entity control it, or whether it shouldn't even have it at all. We went round and round. They ended up cabling those resolutions for the way to agree. Then we got to talk about the EPA, fighting their ordinances, dust coming out of combines, and those kind of things. You know, it's little things we hear about here are a big deal when we look at DC. If we don't get out there and fight them, we're gonna have to have a permit to drive across the driveway probably.
And really, that's the purpose of NACO, is the lobbyists that work to support our issues out in Washington DC.
Another small group I went to on financing public purposes, most of it was dealing with Minneapolis and Chicago, big areas, but there's a couple of county engineers there from Iowa. They talked about, and I think it was Scott County, where 5 counties have gotten together and cooperative bidding bridge projects. Saving a lot of money that way they get people together. I don't know if that's something we think about it, that's something that's happening in some areas. I think we gave them a fair wind, but this week we had the Secretary of the Defense talking to us, talking about in World War II we had 10% of our population in the war, and in the service now we have less than 1%. That's going down. I think that's pretty much. Peggy, do you have anything else you can add there?
No, that's what you guys said, covered pretty.
There's some good meetings, some bad meetings, but you know, you learn about as much talking informally, talking to people, as you listen to speakers. You hear that we have the same problem we have everywhere else. What time we got? 9 o'clock. Okay, I see, Inez is here. You wanna make a presentation? We got a couple chairs for you.
Okay? Yeah.
Neither one of them wired. Get Trish to back. Walk in, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You like the weatherman coming in?
Well, I come in from Storm Lake and it was raining all the way across.
Any bicycles?
We had a bunch there last night. I had people staying at my place and they were just getting ready to go when the rain set in up there, so.
I have a son on the right over this morning, got an email from him at 1 o'clock in the morning, sitting on the lake watching some van.
Yeah.
He's probably still sleeping.
A lot of them probably are. They've been wise for them to sleep till about right now, and then get up and start going. Sleep in.
Well, thank you for coming in, and
Trish is coming in.
Trish is gonna come in.
And you guys met Trish before.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you, Ken, I think you were up here, presentation here, you know.
Yeah, both Ivan and I were
up here.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Was that, we were talking, was it a year ago?
About a year ago.
We have a lot of drainage work in Humboldt County, probably have more than any county in Iowa, and that's the reason we had you come in and talk to us.
Yeah.
What's going on up here? What do you do for us?
Well, I think Kent, had made contact and,
We visited 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago.
something like that, yeah, just talking and seeing what you had coming up here.
Well, about 3 weeks ago, Trish and I were in talking Mike before, Idell's, and we have these new projects coming up, and I guess one of our concerns, and Rick's feels the same way, I'm sure, is, you know, we got a good firm that's doing work for us now, and that's fine, but it's too much. We're not getting things done, in my mind, in the manner that they should be on a timely basis, because of interest costs, because of overruns, because of contractor issues. So until these are cleaned up, I just think it's time to spread. We may have 4 projects that I think we're gonna be able to fund, the smaller ones, but that being said, I think we just want to open the door to kind of get a little more relief on the engineering side of things.
You bet. Well, as you know, I'm based out of our Algona office, and Ivan's based out of Storm Lake, and we have a large staff here that is available. I can pass some of those things around here. We don't have a large presentation here, you guys know, as we did all that stuff here the other day, but maybe you have something like this.
I do.
This is updated.
Might not.
But just, I can something this way to pass some of those around here. So Ivan and I work together. We work together on a lot of different projects and, always conversing. We've got weekly meetings, shifting workload and discussing different issues and whatnot. So we're always working together. We have a large staff to get the projects done as best you can with drainage district proceedings. Drainage district proceedings sometimes themselves aren't always, the quickest, don't always lead you down the quickest path to get things done, but that's what it was intended to do too. It was to give the landowners opportunities for their input and to see what's going on, and that's good.
Sure, your presentation is back in December of 2014, I just found this.
Okay.
And you know what, highlights that are interesting to me, when I look at your drainage project area, you're right in central Iowa, so you know the drainage issues we got out here, you know the engineers around, you know the firms that we get, that end up getting these contracts, so that gives you a good, and I like the closeness to your office in Algona. And when I visited with Rick, he said, he got on with some change orders down here at the law enforcement center, and got them taken care of before they became a problem. I think what I'm looking for is somebody that gets on top of an issue early on, and so it doesn't become an issue for the whole board. It don't become an issue for the landowners that are doing the project. I think we need to find ways to not have hidden surprises that we don't want to deal with if we don't have to.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Absolutely, and there are conversations early on with all those people involved, showing, hey, this is an issue, or we got something coming up here. That's most important, to get everybody aware right from the bat, and discuss.
You can take a small problem and keep it small rather than let it get big.
Yes, and to tell you quite honestly, if there's contractors that we don't like, we'll let you guys know about it early on in the bidding process. That would help a lot. In fact, I've also, in past situations, I don't do this often, but there have been times where I've recommended to the board that you don't open this bid if that certain contractor submits a bid. So that can save a lot of issues.
Well, we gotta be careful of that, we gotta have documentation as to the
It's gonna be
Absolutely.
something that you do on a regular basis.
No.
It's something you need to be aware of when there is a unique situation.
That's correct. And, checking out, if it's a new contractor, we always recommend that we, have the board delay award until we can check references and double check to make sure this is an individual that has done similar work and is, timely in their performance and stuff of that work.
So,
I was just gonna ask, you've probably done a lot of drainage well closures.
We have, actually, I've got another list here of projects that we've done with Idell's in particular, not only...
work with Mike.
Absolutely, we worked with Mike and Sean before he left, of course, Dean Lemke and those were always good guys to work with. But certainly we did, the only 5 pilot projects in the state of Iowa, so that was heavily involved with Idell's and all the funding sources involved there. So, and then along with the ag drainage well closure projects, a number there, Cassuth, Hancock, Pocahontas, Wright. the multiple prep projects throughout all of the northern Iowa, so
We just got, another prep project in Cassuth County.
Yep.
So, you know, we're continuing to stay very involved in, you know, trying to be one of those firms out there leading, you know, in regard to this type of work. And we think, you know, the prep is such a great program. It really brings that water quality issue, treatment and stuff. You know, the pilot projects really took that concept, put the treatment there so that you could improve your agricultural drainage upstream.
Have you come up with any problems with these prep programs that need to be changed as you go?
There's always some modifications of some designs and stuff, yeah, but
There's never, you know, there isn't a cookie cutter design that fits every spot, and
really, it's working with the landowners and find out what they're willing to work with and trying to express what the project will look like and what long-term effects are gonna be. I mean, you must have some success with the city, because they seem to be a little more aggressive in some of these type of projects. And I'd like to see more of that here, because we've got some agricultures that maybe are gonna need some help. They're not maybe gonna get to where they have to come up with other ideas.
ideas for that.
Turning off water, to store water, and these are big issues, this water quality, it's not,
But, no,
only gonna increase.
Then get engineering all done, get the work for that, what kind of oversight do you provide, I've seen that all through.
through construction.
Yeah.
Yes, we do the full construction administration of the contract, the pay estimates, change orders, monitoring what's going out there. We encourage construction staking, giving that contractor some, control out there, and, you know, even like on an open ditch project, I mean, if you don't do a good job of alignment-wise, and, you know, that, if that contractor gets a rough-looking ditch in there,
So digging too deep, too wide, you get erosion, that's not what you were looking for.
That's correct. So we encourage the construction staking, you know, it's, yes, it is a cost back to the district, but the quality of work, I think, is just so important that, you know, the landowners too. They drive by and you see a good-looking facility, they're so much happier about it, and they feel like they're spending their money for something that, you know, they want to be proud of out there in the field too, and stuff. So we follow the projects all the way through, from the beginning of it, all the way through the construction.
So I've got some areas that I'm concerned about that I'd like to talk to you about. Okay, these are issues, I think, if they're addressed early on, it doesn't become a problem, like you're saying, but one of them, I'd like to see a better job of GPS. I don't feel we're always getting, I don't know who's responsible when the contractor comes in this day and age, I think GPS should be used on all of this stuff. We got a project going on now that, you know, that could have done a little better job of GPS early on. I think it's such a simple thing, though, this is a 100-year project that'll last 100 years. Let's get that information recorded from the start, and it makes finding these connections a lot easier. That would be one area.
You mean actually locating, basically doing it as
the engineer or the contractor, or somebody needs to be making sure that contractors, and you get busy, and it's easy for them to do that at a later date, or lay it on their dash, or this kind, I mean, I don't think, there's gotta be better ways to do that. I think, you know, that's one thing when we write these contracts, I think we should have some.
Location of the connections.
Yeah, existing tile.
For everybody.
Yep.
You're opening them up, when's a better time to locate? them?
Absolutely, yep.
yes.
Yep.
We're doing that with our, we also provide district watchman services, Calhoun, Sac, Buena Vista County, where we're the first response. A work order, or a problems report, it goes to the auditor's office. They basically make contact to us, and we have a individual that goes out, takes a look at the site, and we're using GPS right now to log where those repairs are basically being done.
Repairs should be done. We
So
have
that-
contractors that do what we do. And then, you know, I'm trying to, what I was gonna say. The other thing is, just to, when we need to get these agriculture permits done, when some of these, any of these things that don't get done timely, or the wetland mitigation stuff, I think we need to start them earlier, because even in our CS.
It slows up our
they're short.
levying, and that costs
And all of a
people
sudden,
more
we're
money.
getting delays on this, and then all of a sudden, you're adding interest costs, but an engine, I mean, they need to be addressed. These are the things I'd like to see addressed quickly.
We're, you know, wetlands are difficult from the fact that, you know, we're still trying to have the NRCS, you know, do those determinations.
Right.
We, matter of fact, last week I was just in communications with their lead supervisor out of the Sioux City office for Northwest Iowa. They're short specialists on wetlands.
They are.
And, you know, they're saying, well, we got 800 determinations in the process right now being requested. And
We're not gonna move you up until we get through some.
well, luckily, we're doing a project in Calhoun, joint between Calhoun and Pocahontas. We're doing a tile improvement project over there. And we talked to them and said, we really can't be delaying this project, and we were wondering if there's any possibility, if we do the delineation in the field, can we move it up so that you guys certify that? And they're basically, right now, supposed to be in communication again this week to see if they could move us ahead to get those certifications done. That has an application into the Corps of Engineers. And the Corps is requiring the corridor, we're gonna have a partial open ditch improvement and tile improvement. And we have to have determinations along that corridor for that open ditch. That, again, do we do that ourselves, you know, or can we find out if the NRCS can move it fast enough to make it worthwhile for us to wait? So,
We're communicating well with them in these projects, that's what I'm getting at, I guess.
Yep.
You gotta have that communication.
Yeah.
Even though those people are changing all the time. Algona and Humboldt, you know, they're changing, there's a lot of changes going on right now. There's a lot of filling staff, so you know, it's kind of a moving target all the time.
I used to work for the old soil conservation service. I worked there, so I still know some of the people and still have some communication connections that I can go back to and try to, you know, help that process move forward.
We have staff on board that, within our firm that can do those delineations if something like that is needed.
Correct.
Some of our problems came up, Johnny Gordon project was fine, we wasn't aware of it until it was already covered up. How do we prevent that from happening?
But, you know, the way to prevent that is making sure that you're getting enough periodic inspection out there to see the fact that, you know, is this contractor doing quality work or not? You know,
You talked about your district watchman program last time, and that would kind of fall into this area, I assume, right?
well, especially if it's small repairs.
Okay.
And, you know, if our watchman, projects are typically our small repair projects where we're taking care of that. If it's a large project, you know, again, we have an inspector, and when we're out there staking, he's automatically, the other thing that we do, that individual, is make sure that he's checking in with the contractor, what's going on, check in and see what the quality of work was. We just kicked off a project in Buena Vista County. The contractor started one day, the next day we're up there because we want to check, make sure his alignment's looking good, that he's, you know, making clean toes along the facility. If you can get them off running the right direction, you know, they know what you're gonna expect, they usually will do that job for you.
And it depends on the contractor to do, too. Obviously, some contractors are better or younger than others, and so once you have that determined, you know how much time you may need to spend out there. With some contractors, it's just gonna take more time than others.
And then another important thing that we run into is reclassifications, you know, most of these large projects, and I feel it's probably do reclasses on these when we have new systems or whatever, but, you know, we need to really keep those moving along too, because that gets to the end of the project, and those can be starting out in delays too, so.
I think our reclassification process is second to none. I'm pretty proud of it, actually, in that we have a process that involves, of course, the five factors in reclass: the area, the wetness, the proximity and use, and then the runoff factor as well. We start out initially with a program, that models the water flows within the district and creates flow paths. I know this is a small map, but it shows if you follow where a drop of water falls up here, you can follow through the lines where that all ends, what the route it takes to get to the outlet. And then it also creates catchments, little catchments, all these are little catchments. Each one of those catchments has the factor, the wetness, the proximity, the use.
So that's like a little sub-watershed.
Yep.
And it splits where the water basically generates off that piece of property, and concentrates and follows, makes a flow path to your outlet. And then, so we're doing this through ArcView software.
Sure.
And so we were the firm that developed this process of using ArcView to use the LiDAR data, use your surface flows, and then building off of that, build your base map, burn in your tile locations, burn in your culverts, so that you have a good representation of where water's gonna go, and then generating wetness factors, generating flow paths, and getting proximity computations is all done off that base map, and we do that all through ArcView GIS. Our time spent in the field is reduced so that our appointed commissioners, we do map review first. We go to the field, we can basically go through the maps, use these colored maps to make it much easier for them to see how we are subdividing these areas, and it really helps us speed up the process of being able to get determinations.
Well, it's fortunate to have the people service commissioners. It's not a fun job for everybody, and the people that do it take it serious, so
Yes.
we want good support for them, because, you know, they're making big decisions with their neighbors, even if they don't live next door, and there's conflicts, but they're willing to serve, and if you don't have those people to do that, you can't do this work for either.
I think I didn't quite get to it, but there's color-coded maps throughout this packet that we go through with not only with you as the board, but also with the commissioners to explain the process. And it shows very well, you can a lot of times see the spread of how things happen for each of these factors, and the color.
The commissioners
color
come from you, is, you know, they live here, they know the land, they know the unique situations, you need to know that back from them.
Yep, they can provide some of the nuances that you aren't aware of.
They never mentioned soil types when we were in class.
Soil types are used in the wetness factor, okay? We use, the wetness factor relates back to the soil type. Okoboji's are very wet, so that's how they're interconnected, yeah.
How's your workload? Say we had a project here today we'd like to start on. You got enough personnel, enough you can get through it?
Absolutely. We have the opportunity to shift work around and get things done between all these people on this list, and we will get on it immediately.
We also, behind ourselves, we have, Ken has a young engineer working with him out of the Algona office. I have, Brian Bloom's on here. He's experienced, he's got 10 years' experience, working out of the Storm Lake office. He's been on drainage for 10 years straight. We have, another young engineer that's been on with us for a half a year, training under both, Brian and myself. So we're trying to we're refreshing our engineering staff. We're trying to keep these upcoming engineers that are experienced on this drainage.
Nick Frederickson up in our Algona office, very experienced, in inspection and those types of services, as well as Nick Birch, who's coming up behind him. Yep.
Okay.
You probably met him at the LEC.
Yeah, I did, he was good.
Yeah,
I
very-
like visiting with him.
Very knowledgeable.
One more thing that I want to talk about, and I think that'll be done.
Okay?
But it relates for Trish too, because one area I think we should be doing better is these FEMA, but when we have disasters, this FEMA thing, they pay well. If you can document it, what I'm concerned about is, you know, they want estimates, and in my my mind, what you think, what I think it's gonna take to repair something usually is low. It's hard to envision when you tear up a ditch, drainage ditch, where a lot of these happen, you know, you've got busted intake, there are lines coming in there, surface drains and stuff. And you gotta do them right, you know, you gotta take out the old soil, some of that's loose, then you've gotta put in the new soil and rock. And so I'd like to, you know, I'm sure you would help, you know, do small engineering reports on FEMA projects. I think it get it more accurate up front with the guys when they come around and make Tristan's job a lot. We should be more willing to work with it. We haven't done a lot of FEMA since we haven't had a lot of issues, but there's a time when I think we should, you know, turning in more FEMA stuff whenever these things occur, because they end up being pretty expensive.
We, out of Calhoun, Sac, counties, we've been through, 4 different storm event FEMA projects where we, basically as a district watchman, one of the first things we do is check with the board. We, you know, make sure they're on board. Once the county's been declared a disaster, we basically go out and do a review of the ditches, drive-by from the roads, basically identify where we think we got damages that are there with any reports that we get from landowners. And we actually have been doing the preliminary evaluation and giving that to the FEMA representative.
They will accept that, right?
They use it to go out and spot check.
Makes their job quicker.
That's correct.
The last time we went out, Trish and I went out, when I went out there, we didn't have GPS coordinates, that would've helped if we'd had them early on, some early pictures.
Yep.
We went out and did all that ourselves, and we went out, and, you know, then we came back to the office, and Trish and I, well, they wanted estimates of, you know, hourly rates, so, well, then you have to go digging around trying to find something that would be comparable. You know, there's a lot of error, I mean, room for making error as far as estimates, and I'm sure what we turned in are gonna be higher than our estimates were. That being said, we're still gonna get some payment on them, but I'd like to see a little better job on those things, because I think we're missing the boat if you don't. That's the time to get those things corrected when there's a disaster preparation.
Definitely. You know, if you
don't want to wait.
The amount of what they give to you for the administration of that typically is never gonna be enough to cover the engineering involved, but it's the construction dollars that, you know, make it worthwhile chasing. If they will, you know, if you can get them where they are comfortable with, you know, the work that we do out front, typically with the pictures, and that makes them comfortable that these are realistic repairs, and so dollar-wise and stuff, we typically have not had problems getting those works approved. Now, again, it depends on who they send in as that FEMA rep as to how willing they are to allow you to use riprap to do fortifications. They keep saying, well, we'll only pay for the soil going back in. But over the years, we've been able to always get them to approve the riprap and say, yes.
Well, the other thing we found, just like when we just repaired, it was undersized, I could see that. I mean, it makes no sense that, even if they're not gonna pay to put back in the same size, you know, if they'll pay, you know, the difference. And you just don't open these things up and then not correct the error that was there.
That's correct.
Because it's gonna do the same thing down the road.
That's right.
And the biggest cost is just opening these things up, moving the dirt, and even get to work on it. The one we're working on now is 20 feet. 20 feet down, they dig down, and then dig down again.
Yeah,
but I think a little engineering cost in some of those, to get things in the right direction, and maybe you can convince the guy, FEMA guy, that, well, you know, this is undersized, we need to increase the volume of water to get through here.
and
those things you can look at,
That's
as an
correct.
engineering report. I can't do that myself, because they're not gonna, you know, you look at it, this is what was there, so you put back what was there, you know, maybe we should have changed it.
I got one question also, speaking of this Watchman program on repairs. Do you, give us a rough estimate on the cost of some of these repairs? Now, we'll send someone out for a repair, and they send in a bill. We really, you know, we're not in the business, we don't know what a fair amount is.
what we typically, we put together a work order. The work order then is, if it's under $1,000, we're just going direct out to, we have 2 to 3 different contractors that are willing to do the watchman services out of Calhoun, Sac County. So we go direct to that contractor and have him lined up to do that repair. We, at the same time, we send a copy to the Board of Supervisors so that they know that we got work orders out there. We track those work orders, the contractor opens it up. If he feels that there's something significantly different than what we have estimated on there, he's responsible to let us know. We come out, check it with him, verify that there's gonna be additional work there. Contractor completes that work, we check in the field to make sure the work has been completed, and then we, we'll either prepare the claim to send into the auditor's office, or if the auditor, we just notify him, SAC likes us to prepare the claim, Calhoun County will prepare their own claim. So we track those work order repairs all the way through, and that's part of the service that we provide as the watchman, is, you know, at least, if you got multiple, sometimes out in a year, Calhoun County will have over 50 repairs in that county just itself.
Well, I think we'd like to, if you come and give us an update, so we're up to speed before there's any issues too.
We try to make sure we're in front of Calhoun.
We've got a bulkhead up north of Hardy that we're looking at. I don't know, because I'm not the engineer, but I don't think we should put a bulkhead back in there. We've kind of talked about taking it out. Rick, I both kind of feel that it might be an option where you can kind of design this a little differently. I mean, can you handle something like that, just come in and do a quick engineering study on it, and maybe it's not really gonna maybe be bid out, we might, you know, we might have to, I don't know how I guess I don't know what would be the best way to handle it. We should take quotes on that, or just not?
Yeah,
I'm looking for guidance.
Threshold where you have to bid them.
Yeah, the 50,000
Yeah,
is
and I think
technically the
could be under
threshold.
that, but I think it would be cheaper and better in the long run, put another bulkhead in the ditch that's...
This is a large bulkhead?
Well,
It's in the road right away, first off.
there's several 3 or 4 tile lines feeding in it, and they're collapsed or crushed.
The water's come underneath the bulkhead instead of coming out the pipes, so it's broke back in.
It's the start of the ditch there, so you can go feed
Yeah.
on it, but I mean, that'd be something to...
Rock shoot possible there?
Yeah, that's what I would like to
Yeah, it's kind of, I was
consider.
thinking riprap type thing.
So if we decide something like that, that wouldn't take long to get somebody to do a report and get it on. I've asked for that report, and we're not getting anywhere.
Absolutely not, no, that should be something pretty simple. yeah.
Some of this stuff could be started this fall, could be started anytime.
Well, if we don't get it done, the crop drowns out next year and the farmer's still mad.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta get some of these things done.
I would say probably, bulkhead type projects, I'm gonna guess that less than 10% ever have bulkheads go back in.
See, that's something we didn't know, I'd like to hear that, that's what I'm...
Pipe extensions with the
I know
riprap mortification.
something different can be done, I know you feel the same way, it's in bad shape and it's not functioning.
There isn't a lot of watershed coming, that surface water that flows over it,
The ditch.
over the top of the
Yeah, it was
bulkhead.
designed to have water run over the bulkhead from the road ditch coming down, and then the road ditch has kind of been silted in over the years, and
We may need to address that,
you
too.
gotta dip the ditch. And
Maybe you'd have a recommendation on that, too.
The sheet piling, like what we did over there on, what was that, 25, we're up in the top end there.
We've already done all that, this thing's been Band-Aid up about as far as it can go, and it just keeps cutting away, it's a mess.
No, that's something we could look at.
We have farmers sitting here, probably got half the range in the county. Gary, you got any
Glad you said
questions
that.
you like to ask these guys?
I've been after you guys for how many years to have somebody else come in and investigate, look at our drain and stuff. Finally, you're doing it. I'm very happy with this. Because we've had so many problems. It's been ongoing.
Well, and Gary, you know what we run into, people come in and they'll sign petition, but they have no idea to hire for an engineering firm. That's why I'd like some options. And all that being said, your half hour's up, I appreciate your time. I really do, I appreciate coming up.
Yeah, thanks for coming down.
Some of this re-answered what you did in December of 2014, you know, and I thought then you guys probably got a pretty good firm, and it would be worth working out, so.
Would you like any more?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
We like things to move around here. Well, I think you'd answer a lot of questions as far as some of these unique projects that we need to get taken care of, so.
We'd like to see your face in the board meetings when we have projects going too.
You bet, sure. Yeah,
All right.
we
will probably, I guess we'll talk about some of this and probably have Trish contact you and see where we're at on these.
That would be great. Appreciate the opportunity to work with you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't run over those bicycles on the way.
I'm staying on the north side. Stay away from the highway side.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We have, Laura here.
I think they're out in the hall.
Laura engineering.
That's who that's with. Somebody left their hat, I think it's the mayor. Oh, just set in that corner. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Just set it in the corner there.
Sit on the chair.
Yeah, that'll work.
Somebody might come back.
We got a couple chairs up here, and the rest of you got behind. We got four of you? There's four of us. Yep. You can fight, we don't need a lot of room. You can fight over it, we get the top chairs. Good morning, Carl Mattis. I go around and introduce our people here. Hi.
And the auditor's here, nice to meet you.
Jerry Haverly. I spoke to one of you guys on the phone.
Spoke to me.
Hi.
Derek Anderson. Carl
Nice to
Mattis.
meet you. Auditor?
I'm Rick Peterson. Sorry.
What's your name again? David Cook. David. Derek Anderson.
Derek, Rick Peterson.
Rick Peterson. Rick, you
Hi, Justin Miller.
Jerry Haverly.
Nice to meet you. Rick Peterson. Rick, nice to meet you. Justin Miller.
Up with you.
Hi.
Justin Miller.
All right.
Have any of you guys met Trish before, maybe, or just talked to her?
No, I've not.
Talked to her, all right. Well, she's the core and the center of this whole operation, so you got...
Yes, she is.
You gotta work with her. You do too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
You guys haven't decided who gets the top chair yet.
No, I think we might leave them open.
That'll work, you just do whatever makes you comfortable.
Yeah. We have 30 minutes, have you tell us why you're the best guy.
That's not enough time.
Give them that.
Or too much time, but we'll see here.
No, we'll have questions for you.
Trish said maybe give you something in your hand instead of a PowerPoint presentation.
Dave wants you and I.
Dit'll look up there.
Kind of started
I
off.
kinda gave him a heads up, just because I've been talking to him. This is the things we've been looking for,
I know it.
timely stuff.
Well, I want to start off by thanking you for having us up here. We're really excited to be here today, and we continue to grow as a firm, continue to look for opportunities that are out there to help continue to grow our firm. And been in the drainage business for a long time. John McClure, who is the original founder of McClure Engineering, we're nearly 60 years old now. Started in 1956. We're in our second generation owner still, and been doing drainage work for the majority of that time. Not necessarily in Humboldt County, but that's why we're here today, and we're excited to continue that business. And for a couple of the other counties we've been doing work on, we've been doing that work for the majority of that time as well. I'm going to start off. My name's Derek Anderson. I'm a stockholder in the firm and partner. My official title is regional manager, so I don't deal in the day-to-day drainage stuff, but it's my responsibility to make sure that the drainage team is aligning with our core values, that we're delivering service to our clients, and then also work with other teams and other clients in conducting business. So I'm attending supervisors meetings, council meetings, and dealing with project development and client relations every day.
My name's David Cook. I'm the drainage team lead. I'm from Fort Dodge, actually I'm not from Fort Dodge. I've been there for 10 years or so, but my family grew up in Shaler, just south of Storm Lake. He was
farm tractor mechanic, and so I've been in the agricultural field for a while. I was in management before, but came to the Corps about a year ago. So, Justin, you wanna?
Yeah, my name's Justin Miller, registered professional engineer, certified floodplain manager. Been with McClure for about a year now, and do a lot of different stormwater drainage issues across many different avenues, but a lot of agricultural drainage here in north central Iowa.
I'm Luke Huggins. I've interned with McClure for 3 summers, so I kind of started at the field work type level and got to learn the basics through that. That was good for me, and then when I signed on full-time, recently I joined the drainage group right away, and like you said, we like being part of the ag environment in engineering and dealing with the farmers and contractors on a day-to-day basis. I'm part of the Badger Fire Department, so I find my way up here once in a while too for that, so that's me.
Yeah, it's a dumb question for you.
Sure.
You got a big farm, you do a lot of things for a lot of different types of projects. What percentage of your total business is dealing with drainage?
It's about 8 to 10% is drainage. We just actually merged with a firm in Missouri. We've been doing work down there, so we're over 100 employees now. Drainage has been a larger percentage of that. Our drainage business, again, when you work with counties and you get involved with that county, you kind of do about the same amount of work year over year on average. And we've worked with several counties, and that business has been very steady for us. And today, it's about 8 to 10% of our business. In the past, it's been as much as 20 or 30% of our business. Yep.
You're all civil engineer?
Correct. Yep. Dave's actually mechanical.
Yeah, I'm actually mechanical.
Yeah.
I'm definitely odd.
He's smarter than us, but we kind of bring him back down to reality.
One thing, Derek, I was wondering about, you talked about meeting with city representatives and doing different things like that, so you've got a lot of, drainage with cities. One thing I think would have helped us, or could help us, is, and maybe they're getting done, but we've had drainage issues with joint of rural and city, and they tend to be real messy.
Absolutely.
The cities never want to be the lead on it, so the supervisors usually end up doing it, but I think we need, when we do those projects, I think we need somebody probably talking to the city people, administrator, their board, mayor, and their council members, or having a meeting with the members in town, because people in town don't understand drainage, and they're very upset when they get any, rightly so, you get a drainage assessment, and they can't see water going through their place, so they don't understand.
Yeah, and the work's being done a mile away, and they don't understand why they're having to pay for it.
Absolutely.
I think instead of us getting caught up in all of that all the time, we need to have some kind of an upfront informational meeting, something to get those people on the right foot. I think that would be a good starting point on those kind of projects.
Yeah, definitely. Again, our firm, we're civil engineers, we work for cities and counties, so we do some land development work, we do have some private clients, but we benchmark that, 80 to 90% of our work is in the cities and the counties, in the municipal.
Give them a better estimate, ideas what's going on.
And we do street projects and sanitary sewer projects that go right down downtowns, right in the middle of residential areas. We hold public informational meetings, we have kickoff meetings. When the contractor gets started, we talk about what that does, and we understand how that upper reaches of the drainage district also affect what goes on in those communities, and their drainage system sometimes is dependent upon, ultimately, not in a traditional stormwater event, but ultimately, that water being able to be drained away. And so there is that benefit, and we can definitely help you tie those two together.
Seems like public relations is part of the problem.
It is. Yeah. And we don't take that lightly. I mean, our firm and our president is based on, we have, if you flip to page 2, and I'm not trying to steal Dave's thunder here, but we have a vision of building strong communities, but our mission is building relationships that help our clients be successful in the eyes of their constituents. So your constituents are the farmers, your constituents are also those residents of those communities. And it's our responsibility, we feel that we're best when we have that focus on how the perception of the public and the perception of the clients are going to see that. We don't want you to be on the front page of the newspaper. You won't often see our firm's name on the front page of the newspaper, because we take pride and try to do a lot of that work on the back end to stay out of the spotlight and to deal with problems and issues before they become major newsworthy sources. No offense to the press this year. But again, we're not successful and you're not successful if we're having challenging projects and challenging...
That's what gives Fed resolve, is to have good communication up front beforehand. And, yeah, we're gonna miss things, I'm not gonna hit them all, but if there's areas that we see as a problem, it's just so much easier to address before it becomes a real issue.
Yep, and a perfect example of that is we just had a project over the last year where we had a farmer, he was in part of 2 laterals of one district, and he had made a connection into, to the district that we thought was not the right, part of that lateral, and therefore we had to deal with an assessment issue. We sat down across the table with the farmer, attorneys did get involved, we did get, professional advice for the supervisors in that case, but we were able to work out that issue before, and we were able to talk through what the real cost benefit of that situation was, and we were able to reach an amicable solution of where he was able to get back into what we felt was the right district and not, pay through the nose. There was a benefit to both parties. And that's just one success story of what we try to build our organization around.
Yeah, I see you've done agro closures, that's just
Correct.
kind of what we've been working a lot of that on.
Yeah, there's the Iowa code that ultimately sets that up, and you start there. But then again, it's the communication of how to get to those locations, get them closed, and then build a project that's gonna help create a greater benefit to the overall district as a whole.
Have you ever had issues, we ran across one set of projects where the farmer won't let them on their land to do the soil testing to see, and then we find out that there's limestone.
Sure.
That way, so you had added costs. I mean, how do you deal with that when you have a farmer who's, not agreeable?
On nearly every drainage project, there's farmers that want it, there's the petitioners that come to you first, there's farmers that don't want it, and they're the ones that come to the public hearing and ask the tough, challenging questions. Again, the goal of the project is to create a successful project where everybody benefits from it. If we have farmers and landowners that are dealing with those things, we're gonna make sure that everybody understands the risk of, if we're going right through somebody's property and we haven't got on there until we're able to petition that, is there an alternative route, or do we at least know what that risk is? And then if there is a risk that can't be avoided, like in this situation, that we all made the good decision to go ahead and move forward with it, but then we deal with something, again, we're gonna communicate well with you to understand what that is and work with the contractor, and the farmer to make that work in the long term. And again, we put on paper what we think is the best route, but we're gonna have really good communication with each of you on whether or not that's the best route for the project and for the district as a whole. And just because we can go through Part A or Part B, Part A may have some major issues with it, whether it's farmers or other unforeseen ideas, NRCS, conservation districts, et cetera, of where we want to try to miss those, and even though it's the cheapest way to put the pipe in the ground, it might not be the easiest and best way to accomplish the end result.
Plus, we can bring you feedback from the farmers before you start.
Yeah.
If we can get more feedback from them and what issues might need to be addressed.
I'm gonna have Dave just touch on, we have a little process that we've implemented and been following on all of our projects as of late.
Sure. So when we get the petition, the first thing that we do is we just double check that we have the job, and then we do 40% of our research for this report at that point. With many of the counties, we have, for each district, we have a contact, so if it's split up into 4 or 6 different, 5 different districts, then we know that we have to call that person. We just have a sit down with that person and we say, hey, look, this looks like it's gonna be, $400,000, we're gonna have to put in 30-inch pipe, what do you think? And then we have kind of a go back and forth about that, and we, at that point, assess the need for an informational meeting. And what we do is we have the drainage clerk send out little cards, and basically they invite people to come in. It's not public hearing or anything, but we, try to have that open communication with the farmers. And a lot of times, good things come up. He mentioned different routes, or, lots of good ideas come up in those things. So then we go back and we kind of finalize the report, we get the hearings all set up, and then, you know, if we get the job, then yet again, we go into the design phase, and again, we get about half the way done, and then we're contacting the supervisor and saying, you know, this is what we have, this is what the report said, you know, if there are any changes, we hash it out at that point.
But sometimes we run into surprises that are a little bigger, and we don't seem like we quite get a handle on that quick enough. Increased cost here, there's something that was missed, or...
I think you'll
We
find...
need to know that, I mean, because the public is, you hate to say too much in the beginning what it's gonna cost, because they all wanna know, but as soon as you do that, then it's almost holding you to fire. Well, that, you know, those numbers can change to some degree, and they do change.
Yeah. And our goal is to set benchmarks at those phases of where, you know, we're not...
Gain more knowledge,
We're not coming to you with just a finalized report that all of a sudden says what it is. We're coming to you, you know, at halfway through that report.
Creating it as you go.
And sitting down with one or two of you and just making sure, you know, that lead person on that district, and saying, hey, does this, you know, do we have this, are we going down the right path, is there any issues that come up? And then after, you know, if you go to the hearing and proceed with design, then we do that again during that design piece.
Tricia's been good, we've been holding public hearings before we even get to remonstrance phase, and it does seem to help, because there's a lot of good questions, and there's people that have never dealt with drainage that have concerns, and the best way is to kind of get them informed of why you're doing this, and, you know, what might the cost be, and what would the benefits be, and sometimes that helps before we get to the final stages and stuff.
And lots of times, you know, that there's certain supervisors that would prefer to be kind of that point of contact with the farmers and et cetera. They just have the relationships, they're friends out there in the district. In other cases, they ask us, and we will go out and meet with one or two farmers. You know, we'll have 3 or 4 farmers all meet at Joe's shop, and we'll sit down and talk about the issues and the concerns. But again, we bring graphics, we bring the information, we bring the details of how we got to where we got to at this point, and then we'll talk through what those issues are.
Smaller numbers will communicate better than if you have to be...
Correct. Correct.
So I think you guys have farm backgrounds, parents, or farm backgrounds?
My dad fixed farm tractors for I don't know how many years. I walked beans and shelled corn.
So you have a farming background and how people operate.
I did corn research for 6 years before high school, or in high school.
And I didn't grow up on a farm, but my mom's family farms and still farms over in western Iowa as well, and my freezer's full of beef from my uncle. And
Good part about farming.
You know, yep.
We do a fair amount of reclassification work. I know it's hard to say what does reclass cost, because every district's different. Sometimes I think kind of expensive for what they get out of it, because basically you just look at some maps and redo it, and they stab you $4 or $5 an acre. I didn't know if you guys have kind of a set rate you do for reclasses, or how do you do it?
Yeah, we're anywhere between $3 and $5 an acre for reclassifications. A lot of it is, you know, if you go through those towns for reclass,
then it gets expensive.
That's murder. You can have 200, 300 parcels, you know, and it's really small area.
That's what we're gonna be dealing with right now in Gilmore City.
Yeah.
But again, it comes back to that communication of where, you know, a reclassification at points in the life of a drainage district are very important to the drainage district. I mean, they're necessary, they need to change, and something is really the impetus of that. In other cases, you know, it may not be the best way to spend money, and we're gonna be open and communicate with you about that, and try not to do all the work and charge you for something that doesn't really end up, creating
these agro folders, there's such a new, because there was no tile there to begin with, so you almost need a good reclass to even get a starting point in those cases.
In that case, definitely.
Yes. You know, we run into some agro folders.
And then you find also, well, the guy's tile doesn't go where you think it did, or it doesn't go where he thought it did, because his great uncle put it in, 50, 60 years ago.
Yep.
How do you determine that?
I
I mean, as a person doing reclass
Yeah.
for the engineering company.
Quite often, sometimes that tile goes through that hill, the water doesn't, just because it's the high part, it's draining other areas.
Yeah, we've talked a lot that, you know, we establish drainage districts as boards of supervisors and as engineers supporting you, based off of the, you know, that public portion of the tile and et cetera. But if farmer A versus farmer B comes in and tiles it differently, you don't know if he pattern tiles, you know, the 80 acres or all 160 or whatever, and whether it's included or not included, you know, we try to be generous and reasonable in that. But there's a process of where communicating with those farmers and those landowners is a benefit.
That's kind of key, I think.
It is. And then when necessary, we have to go out and do some minor investigation, you know, potholing or doing, you know, a small dig in order to make sure that, hey, yep, that's been disconnected, or nope, that's always been connected in that location.
How about the time frame of reclassification or classification? When do you start in a project with that process?
We've actually done it two different ways. It seems like more and more, they're asking for reclassifications before the project. And there's a lot of things that make sense about that, so you can get, you know, true costs and that kind of thing. But typically speaking, you know, after the project is complete, that's when we go in and do the reclass, so we know where the money is going and how much they're going to get charged.
How soon after the completion of the project are you done with the classification? I mean,
After, as soon as possible.
because
Yeah.
that determines how soon I can levy the project and...
You know, so we can get it wrapped up.
Yeah, right.
And
I mean,
people aren't happy paying interest. So that's,
They are
our
not.
big concern is getting this stuff turned over to collect on it.
Well, especially in September, we need to get the reclass stuff, there's many that want to pay before the year's end, some
Mhm.
want to pay after, so if we don't have that information too, well, then they can't, you know, they don't know what they're gonna be able to tax on.
again, in the world of farming and in drainage districts, is that, you know, we have the fall of the year and the spring of the year, and that's when we're buying and selling, and that's when we're figuring out pricing, but also that's when we're planting and harvesting too, and projects are best when we can follow that process. You can't always, some are too big, but from a reclassification standpoint and a construction standpoint, our goal is to try to line those up and to meet those as best we can. The reclasses, it's time dependent, so whether it takes a month or several months, it's just dependent on how many there are and where we're at in that process. But we'll communicate that with you and on a project-by-project basis to get them out, just that, and to try to meet those timings and those schedules as best as possible.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know, I just think it seems logical that you would start something, you know you have to do a classification. Say you still have the completion and you have other things to do yet, but you could still start with the classification.
Because you know the size of the district, you know what
Yes.
you're putting in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a project that I'm doing right now that's in Cassuth County, and we're moving in construction right now, but we're also starting with the reclassification. So by the time we're done with the construction, the schedule's all ready, we put in the final numbers, and then we're ready to send in the classification report, so it can get advertised, and we can have a hearing on that shortly thereafter the completion hearing.
So essentially, you could have an idea of what a proposed cost plus the percent or units or whatever that the landowner would be
Yeah, there's
responsible
nothing that
for.
keeps us from, you know, determining units for everything, it's just that cost that's not finalized until the construction's done.
And I think that's important. They want to know an idea.
Oh, yeah, that's the first question.
That's the first question they ask always, is how much is it gonna cost you per acre?
How much is it gonna cost
Not what
me,
the benefit
and,
is.
you know, based off of older, you know, classification schedules.
So a classification, you do those before the project starts?
There are times that we have done it before, that's correct.
To where, again, those units can be established, and then we can break down what our estimate of cost is per unit, and then that's where we can start, but then obviously the final cost gets plugged in at the
You
end.
find more success with your projects that way, or
The only problem that I've had with doing that is if there are several options on the table. And I just would hate to get into the position where we're classifying twice because we chose an option that wasn't how we classified it. That would be the only complication to that.
A lot of times our guys are asking for half-inch options.
Oh, yeah.
That's almost when bid those, almost without even thinking, and we're just making sure.
We're doing that a lot.
Assume that we hire you and we have a project all designed, you go out and let bids, and the contractors are hired, what kind of oversight can you give us while that project's going on?
We have a dedicated, field personnel that goes out and just goes from project to project by project every single day. They do surveying in addition to the checking of the contractors and the on-site representation. So we're gonna see all of those connections and you know, private tiles and the public connections. We're gonna see those be made out in the field and, work with the contractor every day. And then when necessary, our engineers are going around and reviewing projects as well. So we physically get out in the field and go check things out.
So you see the connection is what it covers up.
Correct.
And another thing that we'd like to discuss before we would even start is, I'd like to see a better job of GPS, and I don't care if it's the contractor, the engineering firm, the guy that's on, I think we're missing valuable information when we open these things up. Sometimes they're wrote down in their notebook, and they've been thrown up in the cab, and we hear about them 8 months later. Well, there is no reason why you can't GPS them as you go and get some information back to us to look at would be nice. I mean, farmers are requesting, and they want that.
Yep.
And it's vital information you put in a new system, across one. You wanna know that those connections are there, and if you miss one, maybe you go back to that map saying, hey, I still think I have a tile out here. You're showing points here, A and C, but I think I've got one in the middle. Well, some of that would help us do a little better job. And the technology is there, it's not hard to do that.
I mean,
It's just some contractors
in the last-
don't wanna move up to that level.
They just don't
It
want
either
to.
needs to be written in the contract, or somebody needs to be doing it, in my opinion.
To 2 or 3 counties now, as a part of our closure process, we're supplying a shape file to them of our GPS shots. So everything that we, I mean, you guys know that one of the hardest things about drainage is it's all underground and there's no record of it. I mean, the drainage tile, you know, could be here, and the map says it's over here, and that's what creates all sorts of problems, so,
but our field
Dig down,
personnel,
it's supposed to be a 12 and it's a 6.
right.
You never know when you're digging in the ground.
Does he do some of that, maybe?
yeah, he has a GPS unit in his truck every day.
Yeah, I'm pretty concerned, who does it, just that somebody
You
do
know,
it.
the contractor, really the contractor's the guy who should be doing it.
But if you could do it better, it's worth having that information, because if you divide that cost over 50 years or 100 years, somebody's gonna be using that ordinance over and over if it's available. Then you could be on file here with Trish, we could announce that we do have GPS on this project. If a farmer has a question, he at least come in, we should be able to gain that information. It's vital information.
One thing, we support technology, and one thing that's true, in the last decade, farmers have beaten about everybody in the use of technology in their equipment. I mean, you jump in a combine today, and there's companies coming to John Deere and others in order to gain the new technology that they've been investing in. It's just crazy. But we need to help support that in what we do, and we support that as a firm.
So if they provide a shape file, that goes onto our map, right?
That's what they do with
We would like that.
they do
Trish would like that.
your GIS guy usually.
So we're taking GPS shots, and when we take GPS shots, we're talking to, you know, millimeter accuracy, they're contracting, you know, level. And then we're generating a shape file in our AutoCAD and system, and then that shape file is then exported up to the county GIS system.
And then she could print out copies for a farmer anytime they needed something.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
So when you do your preliminary engineering report, how close to your estimate are you at the end?
Just to this,
That's where that's
this page,
coming into.
it's about third or fourth from the end.
So there's, these are all 2014 and 2015 projects. I wanted to get get current ones for you, and I'm sorry it's so busy here, but the second column there, the third column there is engineer estimate in thousands of dollars, and the third column there is the bid cost. So the first, or the winning bid that came in, that's what they ended up bidding. And then the percent of bid cost is obviously the percent that we were off on that.
So a negative number means that the bid cost came in lower than the engineer's estimate cost. And then, the change orders, we went ahead and just threw that in there, that, you know, on all those projects to date, that's where, you know, so there's not very significant, there's one there in Wright County that's out of where we'd wanna be, but, you know, our goal is to have, you know, the change orders are change orders, there's something dug up, but, you know, we try to keep those in the hundreds of dollars and in just a couple of thousands of dollars, not tens of thousands. So this is our current workload. If you were to go back another, you know, 20 or 30 or 50 projects, the trend you would find would be very similar to what you're seeing right there.
How do you get along with the Wright County supervisors?
Pretty good.
We gotta rub them once in a while, 'cause they'd rub us back.
Yeah.
Don't rub Stan too hard, he's awfully big.
He laughs pretty hard when he's laughing.
Yeah, he does, he's got a big belly.
Big roar.
Yep.
So you deal with, Webster County also?
That's correct.
Mr. Reed?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know
I
if
have
you...
a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear you do Webster. I was down in Webster County, and I was just out riding my motorcycle, and I was noticed how nice, when they dip their dredge ditches, how nice a job they do. And they had a machine on each side, I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they threw their spoil on both sides, obviously, they dipped it from both sides. Is that something you guys recommend, or is it just happen to be that one ditch was done that way, or?
It's generally, it kind of depends on the project. When we're dealing with a lot of excavation from that ditch, they'll probably be using from both sides, because they'll need to spoil it on both sides. There's a project in Boone County where I'm recommending that they just do it off of one side, just to minimize the footprint of the construction.
A lot of times you'll get requests from landowners to not be on their part, because they'll have CRP ground there, and they don't want it disturbed.
And if we can accommodate...
Right, if we can accommodate, we try to.
Make a material change to, increase the cost.
I think we're about out of time here. We got some more pertinent questions from either side you want to hit us with, or closing comments?
I think you've hit all the topics pretty well. I mean, I think you presented well. I think it was interesting to hear about some of the other projects you do and stuff. And I think Trish, we've probably got maybe 4 ag well projects that I think, and they're not all big ones, it should be allowed to be funded. We think we've got funding, don't we, Trish? And a couple other ones right now that we're looking at, and I think we'll just let Trish get back to you and kind of touch base with you and kind of determine what direction we're gonna go.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And we have our approach in there and some other stuff. If you have any questions, just let us know.
Thank you.
We're all cycling, right?
Yeah. We have hired a few Hawkeyes in the firm, but none in this room.
Sorry, didn't say that.
Appreciate you guys coming up.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Oh, that was me. I left in 1997 when I went to college.
I was superintendent down at Oakwood.
Yeah?
We used to play against you.
Oh, yeah, you're right next door. Yep. Dennis Cook is my dad's name.
Okay, sure.
You know Dennis?
Yep.
Very good, well, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the time.
Oh, nice to meet you too, thank you.
Jerry, thank you very much.
Wow.
Cold in here.
Wonderful. No, I like it. You don't have to look at it, huh?
I agree with Paul. Oh, it's been a dog here, front and center.
That's just right.
Good morning, welcome back.
His fingers are going numb, we better have to turn it off.
Oh, give him one. Poor guy.
So it don't, that's a coat.
Oh, gosh.
This morning, the only business we have is approved contract and bonds with Riley Construction Company for box culvert replacement number LC-29-1000. This is the box culvert replacement up on the white topping up on Bradgate Blacktop, 2 miles west of 169.
$132,073, right?
Yep. Contract and bonds.
They gotta cut that white top, is that?
Yeah, no, we're gonna replace it, cut it and replace it. It's part of the project, and, we have another one that's on its way. We, bid them at the same time. The other one is on Chatland Blacktop, and we are gonna cut the asphalt, but we are not replacing it with that project. This project, we're replacing the AC with PC.
How much fill will be over the box between the road bed and the box, do you recall?
Don't recall, it's several feet, and as long as we get a foot or so, or they account for whatever fill we have, and they design the structure to match the fill of the cover. The cover is right on the plans, that's one of the design considerations. Yeah, there's
I was
several.
just thinking about how much set, if it's 10 feet, it's gonna...
Well, the box won't settle, everything else around it will, but the box won't.
Yeah.
See, the late start date's August 24th, is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, it's right on the contract here. Yes, it is, August 24th, 2002.
25 days to get the project.
25 working days. And this involves, cross pipes, not only on the paved portion, but also the east-west portion, on the south side of the intersection. We're putting new pipe in there. The current pipe is so tight with the road that you cannot maintain a clear zone. We're moving back, extending, flaring, so that we have, a safer intersection. So this is more than just one structure, this is, several structures all in one.
Comments, Chris? Paul, what we got in here?
No? They're good contractors.
When?
Yeah.
What?
When was this gonna be done?
Well, the late start date is August 24th.
We backed up the late start date as late as we thought we could get it done to get the paving done. And just like any other project, we try to give them as much time as we can.
August 21st, by the end of September, they'll be done.
Should be. And then it should...
Maybe 10th of October.
And on into October, we can still, place the concrete with 40 degrees and rising. It's just a cure time, and then, is effective.
They'll utilize the late start, Paul, yeah, where do you go?
Get it done.
They will, because the working days will start at that point.
But I mean, you don't think they'll start before that?
We haven't heard anything, Dave just asked Ben that this morning, and neither of the contractors has worked on, has told us what they're doing. We have seen shop drawings on these projects, so they're, the fabrication should be soon on the things.
Okay.
All right,
But we don't approve any shop drawings until we...
got this paper.
Just a question on the contract, do you want to include Hartman staying there since he's no longer a supervisor? You're signing a contract with this, and then Rick's name is moved.
Oh, it is.
Good question. We have him on the original plans and specs. He was in the notice, he was in it all the way, so I left it on
I
for
think I
that.
would leave them on too until...
I just wasn't sure, you know, I mean, I know he was in the beginning, but he's not here now when you're signing this.
Right, and
Does it make a difference?
don't know, I left it on intentionally because he's been on all the documents so far. He was on the award, he's on the plans, and I left it for now. It's the Board of Supervisors, that's a legal question, but, and I don't care, you could scratch, that, or you could leave it. I think it's, still between the Board of Supervisors, whoever they are at the time you do something.
Well, and that's true, since this is gonna be signed at the
Today.
current date,
Yes,
I think that'd probably
it
take
just
them
says
off.
Humboldt County,
Just for
Iowa,
the
by
fact-
its board of supervisors consisting of the following members.
Yeah.
Well, being it says it's the board of supervisors consisting of the members, well, he's no longer a member,
That's
so
true.
the new member will sign his place, so I would think it'd be fine.
Yeah. Fix Rick's name
Yeah.
and
Correct, Peterson's name.
take Harlan off, maybe.
We can just scratch, Harlan's off, and,
Right.
I'll fix this stuff.
You could do that, yeah.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the,
I already have their signatures from the contractor, so there's, whatever we do, it's on the originals.
Okay.
Yeah.
bond and contract for Riley.
I'll make a motion to approve the bond contract with Riley Construction for the box culvert, LC 291000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Other discussion. With those changes, scratch the name and correct the name. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Didn't like the SON on there.
They both got an email from you talking about time you're gonna have a safety meeting. We have to do the date.
What day you want?
The date was on the attachment. I didn't make that clear. There was an attachment from Pat with what we were gonna do. And it's, or first part of August somewhere. Safety training is Wednesday, August 5th, and that's where I sent you the email if somebody wants to cook. And if they can, they can. And what the attachment shows is what we've had. I included everything because it showed what we've done in the past. He did a spreadsheet on all of the, politically correct safety training that we've done in the
That's the
past.
day of the friendship golf tournament here in town. Anybody involved with that, your company or anything? Look the company around town. I'm not involved, anybody.
Anyway, if it works, it works. That's what, I forwarded for a piece of information. It was, this is Pat's, spreadsheet he built in on what the past has been and what we were training. It was for information.
Something there about Paul providing steaks, is that what it is?
Yeah.
That is good.
I think that would be a good day.
Yeah, we're doing the other one before out the 14th, so we'll get tuned up.
The main thing is we'll present the, years of service.
That's important.
And, we will have them together, so we'll present that. If somebody, can shake hands and take pictures,
You can get the hammer.
What time?
I'll get the hammer.
We'll coordinate with you, now we gotta...
Last time, what time does that usually start, 11? 11?
We start at 11:30, I suppose, we start the calls.
We pay the guy by the day, so we try to get the whole day if we can.
What time do we usually come in? It's quarter after 11. Get-
Well, we don't pay you by the day, it's whatever you wanna do. Whoever, we can get, we'll make the arrangements later.
Now, another question, we're gonna do the same thing for the courthouse.
Yeah,
You've already approved.
cleaned up.
No way.
Is it gas or is it charcoal? It's charcoal, isn't
You
it?
have-
It's charcoal.
You have a grill. We can use it.
Oh, yeah, he'll take it.
No rent.
This is, it's conservation's.
Oh, we're right now.
That would go through. We need to use that on the 14th.
That's a good point, I need to let conservation know that
We
date.
can get it all cleaned up on the 5th and use it the 14th.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
I got
I got a couple of comments. We did get our roller in last week. It wasn't in June as we anticipated. There was a problem, anyway. We got it in. We're lining, came primered for the inside for the ballast port. We're painting it, and before we can get it out of there, we've already had a request from the fair board to use it Friday night. So,
Back to track.
yeah, they need two, they have one.
don't have it ready for him.
Yeah, it'll be done.
All
I mean,
right.
we're on our second coat.
Use the darn thing, yeah.
Anyway, normally they've
We
had
do it
another
ourselves.
source.
We coat it ourselves, or just, yeah, we're coating.
We're painting the inside, just rolling it. It'll be in the ballast, but we're
Don't have
trying
to
to
be
protect
perfect,
it.
just it'll protect.
But it is going to the fair. I mean, the old saying of my dad is you're not taking it to the fair. In this case, it's going to the fair, so. Anyway,
Good PR with it.
Are we done rocking?
hopefully, we got a few miles that we've stayed off of. We couldn't do 2/10 because they were stringing wires yet.
Yeah.
At the end of the week, 2/10 by drag strip and east. There's a half a dozen miles here that are,
being rocked by EC Source.
Okay.
I mean, we're doing it, but it'll be, day labored back to them, and, I believe we're gonna do, Quebec, or on Quebec between 100th and 120th. It's, west of Laverne and south, those 2 miles up on the north end. I don't think we've done yet. We pulled all that together, pulled the gutters, pulled everything. It was pancaked and flat, pulled it together, and it was a loose fluff. It needed some rain before we start rocking it, and I don't think we've rocked it yet. But, what we're hauling right now is edge rut, and we're gonna do some edge rut.
Any more discussion or concern about driveway removals or leaving them?
Beat the hornet's nest.
Here's what I think, I want to bring this up too, I think, we got a new member coming on, and we'll have him on the 14th, is that,
August?
August, no.
The election's the 11th.
So how soon will he be?
He'll be the week after the 17th.
So his first
And then
week.
he effect immediately.
I mean, I think he could get appointed after that.
Yeah.
So I think we should wait till he gets on, and then I think sometime before harvest, we should have a meeting with these landowners and find out where we're at. I don't wanna wait till 2 weeks. I mean, they give us notice that they're gonna pull them out 2 weeks. I wanna know we got time to think about this. We don't make an action the day we talk to the landowners. I think we need to have a meeting. But even besides that, I think we should have a work session with the new board member ahead of this meeting, just to kind of get him up to speed.
Either that or
Yeah.
leave him out of the hornet's nest to
Well,
start.
I think he needs to get
He'll
involved.
be in the hornet's nest. Well, but
I mean, I think it'd be good to have
Him or her.
a general work session on that.
Do we have a female? Well, I don't know,
No.
but better not be starting...
Oh,
I didn't know.
So we're, 3 candidates running, one of them will be involved, so, I mean, I think it would be nice to have just a general work session. Then
We have inventoried them, we inventoried them ahead of
And then we can
time.
look at the requests.
When we did these temporary accesses, we inventoried them as temporary accesses to assure that when they came out, that everything would be restored to pre-construction conditions, and, we can,
And if the board decides they're viable driveways, that's what we need to do, but I'd like to...
But everyone has to be looked at.
Yeah.
They're done, we have, and...
Well, you've already been
out and looked at them all? We looked at them last week or the week before. I mean, Jerry asked that we, inventory them and look at concerns that we'd have with the current driveways, and we obviously... And we obviously have a lot of, concerns. My recommendations would be, the overwhelming, most of them would not be allowed and recommended.
How many are there?
How many of them?
Yeah, how many driveways is there?
50, 60? We did that, when we did that, we had a whole spreadsheet, and somebody asked that same question then, and I think it was something like that.
I think you're right, Jerry.
Anyway, we have those that have been requested, and, what, again, you suggested, as soon as we get an idea of when this might be, and I'm not sure it will be this summer.
I don't know either.
They haven't pulled anything out of Cassuth County, and they'd start up there first.
Well, at least we could review that with you in that work session, then we can determine later on.
Because they're still in the cleaning process, they still got, they're working their way south, they still have places where they have, concrete clean out, wads, piles of that, things like that, and, they're not done, but the last thing they would do would be to pull these accesses out. In some cases, like on Quebec, we've struck them off, they were higher than we were, so we struck them off and windrowed the 2-inch ballast right back into the access, so that we're working on the road to make us, to keep, number one, to keep the ballast out of the road, and two, to shape the road the way because it's obviously bled into the road,
The comment we had while you were on the call, we had no discussion this morning with Gilmore City people about street repair. I think he was involved with that, but I think we got it solved. What was the result there? Remember about the street repair that County Tile was torn up a couple of years ago?
No, I don't.
I talked to you and you said something. Anyways, be paid for by the district, so
They must have came to your office.
I think they come to your office.
Trish.
They think your office was
They
gonna
got
take care of it.
confused.
Well,
It's just like when they cross the streets in Odison, the city paid for it, right?
Well, I don't know. Trish thinks the district's gonna pay for it, I don't know.
Well, good. That's good policy, 'cause we'll take it to them in secondary roadside.
They did Renwick, I don't know if Renwick ever been available on
It's
that.
a district reason for tearing up the road was because of the district, not because of the city.
No, but I think the policy is that secondary roads, we call secondary roads, he has to pay for it. He's probably saying that
I see.
his assumption would be that the city would be, and I'm not sure, so I didn't answer.
Well, when they worked on, for instance, Odison, had the same thing, where they cut through the park in Odison, they cut through the park there, and Odison came in here and wanted it done, and I believe Odison paid Blacktop Service to patch it. Anyway, that's your deal. It's not ours, it's in the corporate limits, it has nothing to do with us. But it would be the same as, cities are the same as the railroad and the county for roads.
They came to you and asked about it, and they just thought it was done, they didn't really, they needed to come to Trish.
You name it, brought up this morning, me.
Okay,
I'm sure
I got one more thing I'm kind of wondering about.
But that is good news,
Yeah.
save the road crossing costs, we'll take care of that. Well, this wasn't just a crossing, they went right down the center of the road to lay
Excavated.
We'll let Trish and the county attorney figure that one out.
That might be different.
Yeah, because the tile went down through the one lane of traffic.
Yeah, that might be a
The
different
whole road.
situation.
And it's like 415 feet of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a small.
And it's not done yet. One other thing that's, I've noticed, I don't know if any of my other counterparts think agree with me on this, but I've been driving gravel roads, and there seems to be a lot of clover, at pretty tall heights.
The
not-
sweet clover?
Yeah, not just the brome grass. I really think we should start mowing, August 1st, I really do. And I say that because what I see when they go out in September, when the days get dewier and wetter, seems like we're always bunching that crap, and they bunch it on the side of the road, and then they try to grade that in and stuff. I think if we could knock that down, I don't mean cut it right down, I think we could knock it down, it would make it a lot easier and safer to get some of that chewed up. I mean, there's some corners that are pretty dicey with, that's up there with high.
No, it is.
And I know our policy is September.
I mean, we've only mowed the highways once.
I know.
And we mowed the highways late because we were doing drainage.
Yeah.
And now, once we got drainage worked on, we went to highways. Our plans are to go back to highways, soon. We finally finished most of the hauling. We wanna do the highways, mow them, 'cause we will edge rut them then. And then, later on, we usually start, end of August or somewhere with the runs on the gravels.
So it's doable, you're saying?
It's doable, but not necessarily the first.
Well, I
That's
mean,
creeping up on us pretty quick.
I know it, it's getting your quick.
I'd like to get other things more, yeah. I know we have, the sweet clover is about 5, 6 foot tall out there. Is that what it is? Sweet something?
Well, I don't know, it's white clover, it's not even yellow as sweet clover, I don't know, but it's a clover, it's white.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's growing pretty good.
No, everything's growing pretty good. Yeah, no, we got a lot of, blooming purple out there that isn't, flowers either.
Okay, just see.
Anything else, Paul?
Not at this point.
Very good.
Thank you. Just one more thing.
See if we got...
Bunches.
Yeah,
he's got to... Bunch of signatures.
Come right in and have a chair.
Okay.
Paul's got it warmed up for you.
Needs to be. Heater in here.
I don't know, most of you here, I don't know, I'm one there, but I'm bored. I got a problem. And I'd like to see if you guys can help me. I've been to the sheriff department at least 14 times, or maybe more, or maybe less, about my speeders in boat. I cannot get anyone to come up there to write a ticket, to slow down this traffic. Someone is gonna get killed up there. You know this well, it's bad, really bad.
Is it on Main Street then?
It's, everywhere in town.
Just all over town?
The biggest thing is out on, C-20, heading east out of town, coming and going in. I'm not exaggerating, if people move by there 80, 90 mile an hour. Dave Travis works for the county, he walks every morning to work. He'll tell you something, I put up new speed signs, they don't pay attention to them. I had a young lady go around me at a stop sign, a four-way stop. She was in a hurry pushing me, I had a stop sign, went all around me. I don't know where to go with this.
That's out in the rural area?
Sir?
Four-way stop out in the
Yes,
street?
no, right there in town. Right there in town. And then because for some reason, can't get the sheriff department to come up there.
So what was his response? He just didn't want to monitor it, or?
I don't, they told me, well, we'll send some guys up, we'll have them check it out. They have not been up there. No, I've asked everyone in town, I've had people call me, as a matter of fact, last night, some lady was very upset.
Is there a certain time of day when it's worse?
Usually, it's in the morning, anywhere from 6 to, I would say around 8.
Yeah.
At around 4 to 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Coming and going to work.
Well, I think the thing we could do is, Dean's on vacation right now, so, you know, he'll be back.
Yeah, I went down and talked to Dean, the other day, and he was on vacation, but I did talk to his deputy again, and,
Maybe he'll relay it, but I think we'll have, Carl, would you just want to talk to Dean? I mean, maybe, at least we could have a couple times go up during those busy hours and just see what's going on.
yes, if he write up a several tickets, that would slow him down. We're just around a small town.
Right.
And
you've got signs out.
I got speed signs out, and, they can put some new ones out.
Which nobody likes either.
Well, we're gonna,
But if it's critical like that, you're gonna have to address it.
I'm gonna bring to the council next meeting, first month, about putting some speed bumps in town, but that's not there, we can't put it up there on the highway, but, in town, we got portable ones we can take up in the wintertime, that's the one thing with snow removal.
Yeah.
But we got some portable ones we can get, and see if I can get the council going on with that. I'd maybe slow them down in town, but on the highway out there, it is bad, I mean, really
We'll
bad.
just have Carl talk to Dean and see what he, you know, what...
Could you do that for me?
I can at least try and...
Yep.
Patrol it, you know, a couple times.
I would appreciate it because I'm desperate, and I'm tired of people calling me, and, you know,
So
and...
you're getting a lot of calls.
Yes, I am, a lot of calls, and it got...
Not imaginary by no means.
Yeah.
You get a call, somebody's upset.
And we got some little kids, that just moved out there a couple of years ago on the highway, with 4 little kids.
Yeah, there's a good thing too. I know the city of Hardy has a lot of kids, and for whatever reason, they tend to play on the streets a lot. So what they put up is, slow down children at
Right.
play, neighborhood watch signs. I think it kinda helps, and it gets my attention when I'm coming in from the gravel, I think, remember to slow down, because
Right.
there could be kids out
Right.
there. Maybe you could try those signs.
Well, I talked to the engineer down there and about, DOT about putting up some signs for school buses on becoming this, these kids will be starting to get picked up at school.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But last year, during the school year, I've had people, when a school bus stopped out there, you could hear them slamming brakes. It's just how bad it is out there. It's like a speedway, and I'm not exaggerating at all.
What is the speed limit through that area?
Well, we got it 35 when you come in town, then it goes to 25 and then 20. And the same way going out of town, you got 20, 25, 30, and, no one's paying any attention to this.
DOT, I've gone around with those before, they will not put up a school sign
No.
unless there's 500 miles, over 500, less than 500 feet clearance. They say they put up too many signs that's crying wolf. I've gone round there. I've always walked.
If you save a kid's life, it's not crying wolf, as far as I'm concerned, and that's what we're trying to do is, I don't want anybody to get hurt, and that'd be the last thing to do is get somebody killed up there, and it's gonna happen, and I don't want it to happen, you know, it's just...
We'll get hold of Dean, I think.
I would appreciate it.
When he gets back from vacation,
we'll
visit with him. I talk to him every day now.
So I'm desperate, I'm not trying to stir up nothing, but you know, I need help, is what I need, and, I can't do it by myself, and the sheriff's department, like I said, I've been there at least 8 to 12 times, and I get the same story, always says somebody up there.
We'll talk to him.
But I would appreciate it, and anything you can do to help me,
All right.
okay? Well, thank you for letting me come in.
See what happens.
All right, I appreciate it.
We can't guarantee anything, we sure try.
We'll talk to him.
Thank you.
That's where it used to be nice, though, when these deputies were spread out, like Livermore and Bode, and and they was,
When they're
they lived in the town.
Yeah.
Now they don't.
If you get enough revenue up there, right enough tickets, they'll hire another guy. That's how bad it is, you know? Yeah.
But
Anyway, it's a good
you're
point.
right, if they wrote a few tickets, it
What
probably.
you need is put up some speed cameras, then you make a lot of money up there.
There you go, you'd like to do down Fort Dodge, huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate you letting me come here, and then, like I say, I'm not trying to stir up anything, but I just need help.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
You bet, thanks.
Before we go to drainage, do we have anything else we need to cover in general session? Peggy, you got anything?
No, I just wanted to check with you guys, I still haven't ordered the lights, you know, we talked about replacing the light bulbs in the courthouse.
Oh, yeah.
We were holding it, if I remember right, someone was gonna check on something, I don't remember what. So I'm still holding it.
I talked to, yes, and I think we got that straightened out. I talked to, who was it? I can't remember now, but they were the right
The
ones.
new sign.
They will be the right ones, but more efficient.
So,
Go for it.
does anybody have any concerns with us going forward then? The guy has ordered the bulbs.
I think we're okay.
I did check on the rebate's still in effect.
Good.
The estimate for replacing the ones that weren't compatible with the new lights is about $2,400. So there's,
I know we had a guy here
One
one
more
more,
you think?
45 ballasts and 2
just a thing that
lamps.
slips right into
Yeah,
The
the,
payback will be there.
and they had the LED, it was all LED
Okay.
light.
Yeah, one more thing, I can go to drainage.
Well, a lot of ways, use a lot.
I was just gonna, well, I guess, I'll bring it up in drainage, just as a drainage issue, never mind.
Okay.
We're good. Motion to go into drainage.
Motion by Jerry to go in drainage, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rick. All those in favor of going in drainage, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, we are in drainage. Goodbye, Peggy.
We'll have it right down.
We'll adjourn without you.
Go back to my work.
Right. You know, this discussion about law enforcement, I don't know how much we get the police, the sheriff out there, we gave him some.
Well, but if they know the hours where it's the worst,
Yeah.
you just get somebody cruising, if, you know, if somebody goes to vote sometime during the day, we can just be out there.
They go up after ball games and so forth, when it's heavy traffic.
So it sounds like he's getting quite a few calls, I mean. it's
Evidently.
just a fluke or one party or something, I think they've got some issues.
And sometimes they just need to change their routine. Because, you know, when you kinda get used to a routine, you say, oh, the deputy always drives by at a certain time of day. So, you know, they got their routes.
We can have the maybe he's got an
So
answer.
you can mix it up a little bit.
All right, before we start in drainage, and I forget, I just checked, I signed all the bills on, with B and W for our, spring or drainage ditches, and his estimate was $33,250, and our cost is $10,679. So it's down to a third. So many years we've been half, and I think by staying on this rotation, I think it's the
I think
best
we're
thing
staying on
doing.
top of things.
Apparently, we're keeping them trees smaller, because I drove, well, I went out to that one by Hardy that would have been sprayed, and I had noticed there was some dead trees dying, so, you know, we're killing trees that are
Smaller.
3 foot instead of trying to kill trees that are, need to be cut out.
Counties don't do that.
That's money well spent, so,
Oh, yeah.
and they've been really good to us over the years.
Because you get trees, and then you get beavers.
Yeah. Okay,
You got-
all you
We have a drainage levy for 2015. Trish, it's all yours.
I went through our list, and, about 50.
We'll probably have 10, 12 hours in that too, don't we?